I want to thank each of the witnesses for being here. Actually, Dr. Happer, you wanted to briefly.
I just wanted to make one response about satellite temperature measurements. They measure temperature the same way as hospitals do today. Nobody sticks a thermometer in your mouth anymore. They use a temporal scanner. They put something in your ear. And so they're measuring radiation in exactly the same way that satellites do, except infrared radiation. So everybody uses the same temperature measurements today.
Thank you, Dr. Happer. That's helpful. This hearing was a hearing to discuss facts and evidence and data rather than partisan dogma and ideology. And there are at least 7 facts that our witnesses have laid out here to which there have been, I believe, no effective response. Number 1, that carbon dioxide, rather than being a pollutant, is good for plant life. Number 2, that the Earth, right now today, is greening. Number 3, that for significant periods in history, there has been markedly more CO2 in our atmosphere, and that was prior to the Industrial Revolution, so it could not have come from the burning of fossil fuels. Number 4, that for the last 18 years, the satellite data and the weather balloon data both demonstrate no significant warming whatsoever. That fact in particular, not a single Democratic senator had an effective response to. Number 5, that the satellite data and the weather balloon data are the best evidence we have of whether warming is occurring, and that evidence, the actual data, demonstrate that it is not. Number 6, that the seas were rising more in the first half of the 20th century, prior to the significant increase in carbon dioxide emissions, than they are now. And number 8, that the computer models, the apocalyptic computer models that are telling us we need to raise every hardworking American's electric bills, gas bills, cost of living, we need to make it harder for single moms, for immigrants, for African Americans, for Hispanics, for hardworking men and women. We need to make it harder for them to make a living and make ends meet. The computer models are profoundly wrong. Not a little bit wrong, but profoundly inconsistent with the data and the evidence. None of these 8 facts tend to make it through the media gatekeepers that instead enforce, like the Inquisition, a discipline on the heretics that would dare stand in the way of their political ideology of imposing trillions of dollars of cost on people who are struggling. Policy should be driven by facts, and as John Adams said, facts are stubborn things. In addition to the number of things entered in the record, I've got a series of newspaper articles describing the persecution of so-called climate deniers that without objection are going to be entered into the record. I'm also going to enter into the record the op-ed that Senator Whitehouse wrote calling for RICO criminal prosecution of anyone who dares stand in the way of the political ideology that hurts working men and women.